Hey, it's Richard with PreSonus. You know, one of the great things about all StudioLive Series 3 rack and console mixers is that they are amazing recording interfaces with super flexible routing capabilities. For example, I can record an entire band at once in my DAW and create stereo monitor mixes on my StudioLive for every musician in the band. And with 16 flex mixes and 4 subgroups available, I can even create a separate drum bus to patch to an analog tube compressor and record that too. But it doesn't mean that we have to do things that way. We can simplify the workflow by using interface mode. In essence, interface mode takes all input and output channels and routes them on a one-to-one basis, making your mixer function like a huge but really simple recording interface with any digital audio workstation. Let's take a look at how to set that up in Universal Control and in Studio One. Here we see our mixer in UC. When I hit the gear icon, then digital patching, you can see here that I have some USB sends patched around in random order. Now we'll switch to interface mode and come back to look at this. I'll hit the Settings tab, then the Interface Mode button right in the middle of the window. Then I'll confirm. Now all my inputs, regardless of how they were previously patched, are now one-to-one from channels to USB sends, and I can't change anything. All my flex mixes are taken out of play and replaced by one-to-one USB returns from my DAW, direct to their corresponding outputs on my mixer. Let's see how that looks in Studio One. Here in my Studio One song setup, I've created 16 output channels, and I've got them patched one-to-one with USB 1 feeding output 1 and so on. Now let's look at my mixer window. If I were to record my bass dry on track 9, I could then take the output of that track and send it to out 1, which would be my Flex Mix 1 output on the back of my mixer. That would feed my pedal board or outboard device. Then I can have that device plugged into channel 10 on my mixer. When I click track 10's input source button, I'll hover over the outputs dropdown, and then I'll choose out 1, and the affected bass signal would then get recorded on track 10 because of the one-to-one input patching. Once I've recorded that affected track, I can move track 9's output back to main, and now I have dry and affected bass tracks side by side. Interface mode lets you work in the way you prefer. If you'd rather use StudioLive's powerful mixing and routing capabilities as the hub of your control room, you might never need it. But if you prefer to use your DAW for routing, interface mode lets you take advantage of all of the onboard processing that your StudioLive mixer has to offer. And then you can let your DAW handle the rest. It's just another way that StudioLive Series 3 is the most powerful and versatile mixing platform in its price point. For more information, go to PreSonus.com or check us out on YouTube. Hey, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.